let's start with the threat today. What was that?
Okay, the threat that came in early this morning, mid-morning, I would say probably around 9:30, 10 o'clock, was a new threat. We have been fielding multiple threats on social media, email, and voicemail for the last couple of days. So the threat today, however, was specific in terms of time and place. It involved not just the school specifically, but it also involved staff members' homes and families. And so out of an abundance of caution, whenever we have a threat, we run a very tight process with law enforcement partners, depending on what part of the district we are in. So in this case, the school was in on the Tualatin side, and so Tualatin PD worked with us, and we worked through a series of questions and conditions, and then we leave it to them to give us their assessment. Is this something that should raise concern for us and we need to respond to, or is this something that we believe is not credible and we can go on with a regular school day, but with enhanced police presence. The specificity of this email was such that we believe that out of an abundance of caution, it was best to send children home and staff home and give law enforcement an opportunity to thoroughly check the property and surrounding areas, as well as work with the staff who have been targeted and setting up security for them as well, myself and my husband included.
No physical internal threat inside the school building?
It was not internal, it was external.
But this one email, there were specific threats to multiple,
yes,
the school and to you?
Yes, that is correct.
To other board members?
That is
So
correct.
this was doxing. What information were they giving out that you could...
Addresses and locations.
And what type of a threat specifically?
Bomb.
How do you feel about that?
You know, I have lived through many of these. And the thing how I feel about that is that it angers me. It angers me because it takes us away from the mission of serving children and serving our community. And I'm a woman of faith, as is my husband, a man of faith, and we believe that, you know, the good Lord has us in the palm of his hands. So this is really righteous anger about keeping us from doing what we do very well in this district, which is serving kids.
Are these threats that have been coming in, including this more specific one, connected to what happened, the incident at the school in the viral video?
It is. It's because, so we can go back to that incident, because I really also want to be very, very clear. On any given day, we serve all who come through our doors, and that is that's the power of public education. But with that means that we're bringing in humans in their full selves. And some of them have awesome days, day after day after day, and others do not. And when they make that bad choice, we respond in kind. This is an incident where the student made a very bad choice, assaulted another student, and that student now is in the hands of law enforcement, and they are doing their investigation and adjudication. And once that is done, then we will make our determination as to what our next steps and responsibilities are to that student, because we are still commanded, whether the student is with us or whether it is within the system, that student gets access to a full education. That all being said, in this particular situation, we know that it was premeditated, that it was planned because there is a challenge that is nationwide relative to whether it's TikTok or other social media platforms. You know, go ahead and videotape a threat or a fight so that you can get lots of likes, and that's exactly what they did. Students knew that this was going to go down for that reason and did not report it. When our students do report it, we always react immediately to it. So that's what's most important to understand. The minute that video, however, went viral, then there were issues that were raised by the larger community, not internal to the district, but external to the district. Adults within the community and adults, you know, nationwide, you know, calling out the student's gender, and that had nothing to do with the choice that student made relative to the assault. That student made an incredibly awful choice, and will have consequences that are meted out commensurate with that assault. However, this other piece, which is because the student has a particular gender identity. Therefore, there is no connection, and that is the hate that we are dealing with right now from groups from across the nation and even here locally, and that has no place in our schools. That is antithetical to what we believe here at QTSD.
These are kids, and these parents. You got to be upset with parents. They should know better.
What I'm concerned about, and certainly have offered to our community. We held a safety forum Tuesday night, which is part of a routine forum that we do just to help parents understand all of the safety practices that we have and procedures that we have in place. It just happened to coincide with this event. But yes, I was very clear that when you as an individual make a decision to post photos, and I want to remind all of you gentlemen that these are minors. These are minors, not only the originator and the victim, but children who are in the hall. And all of their identities have been compromised. And no permission was given. And yet, we seem to think that in this age of social media, we can take those videos and we can post them wherever and have no sense of responsibility to the impacts on those children. So yes, the community has heard it from me loud and clear.
So to be clear, what happened today is connected to that viral video.
Correct. That is correct.
Do you know geographically where that threat came from?
We do not, and that it's not the first time our district and others in the area have received similar threats. In the sense of several years ago, we had bomb threats leveled against two of our elementaries, but it was happening at the same time that Sherwood was getting pinged, but Beaverton was getting pinged, and that was tracked back to an individual in the Midwest, and that individual is in jail.
Can you say was the kid who was the attacker transgender female?
I cannot. And again, gentlemen, it's not that I'm trying to be obtuse. There is, I'm sure as you're aware, but I'll remind you, FERPA protects minors' school records, which includes, their identities, their location, their academic record, their discipline record, and medical records as well.
The student has been arrested.
That is correct.
Do the police ask for FBI help, or do you as a school district ask for FBI?
We work with our law enforcement partners, and they decide the level of support that is needed. Knowing we have an amazing group. Yesterday, I sat both with Chief Pickering from Tualatin PD and with Commander Roberts from Tigard PD. We also work with King City PD, and so they decide what level they need to raise this to. And it wouldn't surprise me if they have made that call. But it's something that they try to keep tight to the vest, and we appreciate that.
Going back to school Monday?
That's our plan. I have a team that's already convened while I'm having the opportunity to sit here and chat with all of you. The team is beginning to flesh out all the supports and other pieces. And so as soon as we have a plan that we believe is both responsible to the community and helps take the air out of this balloon and help people understand that we are about education, we are not about drama, and that children are safe with us, and we want to be able to do our job. So we need people to stand down and let us do that. And so we'll put a plan together that will help us get there and move forward and back to doing what we do well.
What can you share with us about the kids' reaction? Because you work with them every day, but it's hard to tell this age group. Some of them seem like it's no big deal.
Yep.
Others, I'm sure, scared almost to death.
Yeah, I think, this morning, because myself and my entire cabinet, I dispatched, directed that we need to be on site, and, just to help round out the week. And I was a middle school principal for 4 years, a high school associate principal for 3 years. And so it looked like any other day. Kids were coming through, they were jostling each other. There were some that, looked a little scared, and so we just brought them alongside and said, what can we do for you? Then I visited classrooms as well. In one case, the students wanted to ask me questions, and so we, much like this, we had a conversation around how to keep one safe and what we do in situations like this. What I reinforced to them is that how much I appreciated and how proud I was of them, that they have actively used Safe Oregon. And because that is an immediate, ping that we get, so we'll get it at, whenever a report comes in. Last night we got them at about 10:30, 11 o'clock on a different situation. And again, pull the SROs in and we worked that one through and we knew that we were good to go. But I really reinforce, that's how you keep yourself safe, that's how we keep our community safe, so that we can do the good things that we want to do. The kids were more concerned about, do we get to go to the track meet this afternoon? I said, absolutely. You betcha. We'll load up the buses and we're going to have a good time this afternoon. And we've had questions about our homecoming parade at Tigard. Absolutely. I will not let hate and vitriol keep us from doing what we do as a community for our kids and our families.
I apologize for being repetitive, but do you know where today's threat came from within the country, locally?
We don't know yet. It was a generic, like a Gmail, AOL, that type of thing. So again, we hand that over to law enforcement and we let them run their process.
They want to ask some questions.
Okay, Julie?
Oh, yeah, hi, everybody. It's fine. I can wait till everyone else is done and finished, yeah.
You don't?
I just have one more then, if that's, thank you very much. I said, well, so I mean, you want to get back to normal, but this, I mean, something that goes viral, it's got millions of views.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, can you kind of put that in perspective? How difficult is that to take the air out of?
Yeah, it is. And again, and I'm sorry, I can't remember your name. I see you all the time.
Tim.
Tim, thank you, Tim. So Tim, what I would tell you is this is the unfortunate complicating factor in the lives of public ed administrators and teachers. However, what you do is you do what you do best every single day and you never waver. Because what they are really looking for is a break in your process. That's something that says that you're not walking your talk. And that's one of the things that I am immensely proud of our staff and our students today. They knew the drill, and when we needed to send them home, they knew how to leave the building and get to their parent or get onto the bus, and there wasn't a ripple in the pond. Our kids are just excellent because we've practiced those processes over and over and over again, and you just have to stay after it and say, you want to say it's this, but this is the truth. This is how we do business. This is how we communicate. This is how we do our work. Yes, is it scary? Absolutely. Does it make me angry? Already shared that with you. But the fact of the matter is, we got this, and we know how to do this, and we bring all the partners necessary to the table to make sure that we can continue to do this, and eventually it will subside itself.
Superintendent, there was a lot of concern among people who were presenting email to you, threatening emails up to this point, that there wasn't discipline in this case. Can you clarify a little bit about what you can and cannot share?
I can't speak.
And what happened at that moment after the spike broke out?
Correct, and that's one of the reasons immediately, when there is an assault between two students, that immediately goes to law enforcement. And we let them investigate and then make a determination, is this criminal or not? And right.
You had officers there at the school?
Yes, we have SROs in our schools. Two really amazing SROs on the Tualatin side, Officer Brian Miller and David Hernandez, and we have three on the Tigard side, and it's a great gift from both communities that we have those individuals and that they are embedded or in another school where they can come quickly to a situation. And I think it's important that people also understand that those individuals, it's not just a day job for them. If we have a situation, if we know it's internal, but a student is making a threat against the school or against another student, we will dispatch them in the evenings and on weekends to run a situation to ground.
So they went to that fight?
So they were out external to it, and then the student was then connected with law enforcement that afternoon.
But who actually responded in the hallway?
In the hallways, it was teachers and staff.
And then they met up with police?
Yes, that is correct.
They gave the student to at that point?
I'm sorry?
They gave the student to the police at that point?
Yes, at that point, it is an interview with the student, and then the police makes a determination whether they hand it back off to the parent or whether they continue to hold the student in custody. And there, again, I can't give you any more detail than that because of the situation.
So let's talk about behavioral health. We're hearing from
Yep.
teachers, parents across the metro area, across the country, post-pandemic behavioral health issues are on the rise. Talk to me about what your school district is doing to address the rise and kind of this crisis that's for you?
Yeah, no, I absolutely love that question. So a number of tactics. Number one, we continue to expand our MSWs, our social working staff, who are counselors. Not only are they able to be counselors, in addition to our school counseling and school psychologist staff, of which we have that for each of our schools, but they are also able to make referrals to community services and immediate psychiatric care if required. We are fortunate in that we have a very strong partnership with Portland State University, and so we are working with them now on a grant. This came from a meeting that we held where we hosted Human and Health Secretary Becerra at Tigard at the end of, was the first week in August. And basically we are doing a grow your own, not only with our students but our staff, to increase the number of behavioral health individuals we have within our system. But we also are using their internships to provide care as they are finishing their licensure requirements. So it's a tight system, and we're very excited for that partnership. And then in addition to that, we also have school-based health clinics, both one at Tualatin High School and one at Tigard High School, and they provide not just physical care and reproductive care, but they also provide mental health services, either episodically or ongoing, and if they can't service the student, then they will also make referrals out. In addition to that, every school has what's known as either a class meeting or an SEL lesson at the high schools, at elementary and at middle. I attended one this morning at the middle school, which is basically their way of getting themselves set for the day. We answer any questions that they have, what's on your mind, how are you feeling, and then there's a topic that we talk about, self-regulation, how we explore and make certain that we can take care of conflict. That's been the biggest challenge for our middle school students coming in, and again, it's because of their access to social media where, conflict, physical conflict in the sense of ultimate justice is glorified. And so we work hand in hand through those daily class meetings to really help students understand, how do I de-escalate a situation? How do I try to work through a conflict without it taking on a life of its own? So this is work that we are going to continue to do, because we know students will not be able to engage and learn if they are feeling dysregulated.
How are you going to make the determination? Excuse me.
I was going to follow up on that, but kind of answer it a little bit. But do you think this assault is connected to this mental health crisis that we're seeing?
I don't know, to be honest with you, and that's part of what will come out of the investigation. Whatever comes out of that investigation will lead us then to, all right, what else is still missing within the system relative to a particular need. Sometimes it's only specific to that student, and so it's very specifically tailored then, the terms of supports. I also want to be really clear that regardless of when a student, the victim in this situation or any situation where they're a target of hate speech or physical violence, that we also wrap in extensive counseling support both in school and external for the student.
How will you make the determination?
One more question.
How will you make the determination on Monday whether or not there's going to be school? Will it be contingent on the FBI tracking down the source of this threat that you closed the school for?
I think that there'll be a number of factors, Lisa. Certainly, are we secure and ready to go in terms of the larger community threat? That will be absolutely one of the larger pieces of that. But it's also about, do we have all the right people? Who else do we need to leverage to get the school reset and moving in the right direction? To the earlier question around, how are students feeling? The majority of students have continued to have really great days. And I don't say that in a Pollyanna kind of way. They literally are just being themselves and being kids. Unfortunately, when we have these situations, we have to address it as a community, and we have. And kids, when we do that, they have that level of trust, and they know, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and be myself. Like I said, the question was, can we go to the track meet this afternoon? Absolutely. Why wouldn't you? That's on the schedule. You betcha.
Shocking at all, surprising at all that it's middle school rather than a high school?
I would have said yes prior to the pandemic. Post-pandemic, I would say that our middle school students have been incredibly impacted by the impacts of the prolonged closures and just the pandemic itself. We've had children who have observed multiple members of their family pass because of COVID and being at home and having no one to process that with. So this will be with us for a very long time. But we're making progress.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.